Hello my dear students, today I am presenting second part of hearing under the heading of special senses. Already I have uploaded first part of hearing. So on today we will discuss part 2. First of all, our learning objective in this lecture. Number 1, describe the components and functions of inner ear, particularly cochlea. Number 2, explain the detailed structure of receptor for sense of hearing, that is organ of Corti. We will discuss the detailed structure of organ of Corti on today's lecture. So let us begin. In my previous lecture, I have discussed external ear and middle ear. Into that, I have discussed the structure of external ear includes ear pinna, then external auditory meatus, then tympanic membrane, then middle ear, under which we have discussed the ossicular system, 3 ear ossicles, malleus, incus and stapes, which are articulated, and the stapes, footplate of stapes attached to oval window. And our middle ear function we have discussed in previous lecture. Please go and see that lecture. Now today we are discussing second part, under which our focus is primarily on the structure of inner ear, under which our main focus is over structure of cochlea. Actually, internal ear contains two things. One is for balancing and second is for hearing. Now this upper part, this part is basically has a role in balancing. It is having two things. The lower part is called saccule, upper part is called utricle, and there are 3 semicircular canals. Saccule and utricle are basically responsible for static balance, and these semicircular canals are basically responsible for kinetic balance. So this organ which is responsible for balancing is called vestibular system, and the remaining part which is appearing like snail is basically cochlea. And this cochlea is responsible for hearing. Now in this cochlea, which is coiled like a snail, approximately 2.5 to 2.75 turns are there. If you want to see the internal structure of cochlea, you put a cut section and enlarge that cut section . This is our cut section, and you enlarge that section and see into that in our next slide. In which we are discussing structure of inner ear. the cut section of cochlea. The inner ear or labyrinth consists of two parts, one concerned with equilibrium called vestibule and another concerned with hearing called cochlea. The cochlea is a tubular structure. The length is 35 to 40 millimeters with 2.5 turns. Approximately 2.5 to 2.75 turns are there, these turns. Okay, 2.5 to 2.75 turns are there in cochlea, and this cochlea is locked in the hardest bone of body, that is in temporal bone. So in temporal bone this cochlea is locked. This cochlea contains a bony tube under which membranous structures are lined. So now we are going to see the enlarged view of cut section of cochlea. Contains three compartments. You can see here three compartments. This is if you see one cut section, you can see here three compartments, number 1, number 2 and number 3. Scala vestibuli is number 1, scala media number 2, scala tympani number 3. And from here you are seeing that there is yellow colored. This yellow colored is basically our cochlear nerve having two processes. This is our spiral ganglion. From spiral ganglion, peripheral processes are arrives which are going toward the receptor, that is organ of Corti, and central processes are away from spiral ganglion and they joins in cochlear nerve. So any mechanical transduction occurs at organ of Corti leads to generation of impulse, and these impulses first go to peripheral process of peripheral process, and from peripheral processes to spiral ganglion, and from spiral ganglion to central processes, and then it joins to cochlear nerve. Now further enlarging, if you further enlarges the structure and see these compartments in detail view, in the next slide, the cochlear tube is divided along its length into three compartments, as I told you earlier. Number 1, scala vestibuli. This is scala vestibuli. Number 2, scala media, and number 3, scala tympani. Between number 1 and number 2, that is in scala media, between scala vestibuli and scala media, there is a membrane present, and that membrane is called as Reissner's membrane. And between scala media, that is number 2, and scala vestibuli, that is number 3, there is again a membrane present which is called Basilar's membrane, which is called Basilar's membrane. So basically, if you see the cut section of cochlea, there are three compartments seen. Number 1, scala vestibuli, number 2, scala media, and number 3, scala tympani. Between scala vestibuli and scala media, there is a membrane called Resner's membrane, and between scala media and scala tympani, there is a membrane called Basilar's membrane. So on the Basilar's membrane, you are seeing that there is a receptor present. On the Basilar's membrane, there is a receptor present, and that receptor is called as organ of Corti. Okay. So in this slide, we have discussed three compartments in the cut section of cochlea. The number 1 compartment, scala vestibuli, number 2 compartment, scala media, and number 3 compartment, scala tympani. Between scala vestibuli and media, basilar membrane, Resner's membrane, and media and tympani, Basilar's membrane. The Resner membrane is comparatively tough or taut, or you can say rigid, but the basilar membrane is more elastic in nature, okay. So again, the thing we have discussed in the previous slide, scala vestibuli is separated from media by Resner's membrane. This is Resner's membrane. Scala media is separated by scala tympani. This is media, this is tympani, by basilar membrane. This is basilar membrane. Scala media, this is scala media, or cochlear duct, also known as cochlear duct. So always remember, the other name of scala media is cochlear duct. So they are an independent compartment throughout the length of cochlea. Okay, it is individual tube, closed compartment throughout the length of cochlea. Which one? Scala media or cochlear duct. Scala vestibuli and scala tympani, they communicate with each other at the apex of cochlea. If you unwrap the turns of cochlea and you straighten the cochlea, so at the apex part, it is the area where scala vestibuli and scala tympani joined with each other, and that common opening or single opening by which they are joining is called helicotrema. So in the next slide, I will show you the joining at helicotrema. So this is scala vestibuli, this is scala tympani. In between these two, scala media or cochlear duct, which is independent tube. Scala vestibuli at the apex of cochlea with the help of helicotrema joins with scala tympani. Okay, so this is helicotrema at the apex of, at the end part or at the top of cochlea. So vestibuli is fuses with the help of helicotrema with tympani, and then tympani at this point is round window. At the upper point is oval window where vestibuli begins. So scala vestibuli and scala tympani means number 1 and number 3 contains a fluid known as perilymph. So they are bathed with perilymph, which is formed from plasma, capillaries and from plasma. It has ionic concentration similar to extracellular fluid, means it contains low potassium and high sodium ion concentration. The number 2 compartment, that is scala media, contains another fluid known as endolymph. Endolymph has ionic concentration similar to ICF or CSF, having high potassium ion concentration and low sodium ion concentration. So in perilymph, which is filled in vestibuli and tympani, that is 1 and 3, having composition similar to ECF, but in tube number 2, that is cochlear duct or scala media, containing fluid which is called endolymph, having ionic composition same to ICF, means high potassium ion concentration and low sodium ion concentration. The origin of endolymph is not fully understood, but there is a structure called stria vascularis, highly vascular structure along the outer side of scala media. I will show you in the next slide where stria vascularis are present. They basically having very important role in the production as well as the maintaining high potassium ion concentration in endolymph. So the structure behind the endolymph is stria vascularis. So you can see here, this is our the tube, the cochlear duct or scala media. In the medial margin, you can see here stria vascularis, which is responsible for formation of endolymph, secretion of endolymph and maintaining the high potassium ion concentration in endolymph. So this entire part containing endolymph, this entire part, this entire middle part, number 2 or scala media or cochlear duct contains endolymph. So the sensory cell responsible for hearing are located on surface of basilar membrane. Our sensory receptors which are responsible for hearing, they are located on basilar membrane. Okay, as I told you, basilar membrane is more elastic or flexible in nature. Over the surface of basilar membrane, our receptor for hearing are present, and these receptors are known as organ of Corti. Organ of Corti. Organ of Corti is the receptor organ that generates nerve impulses in response to vibration in basilar membrane. When basilar membrane vibrates due to entry of sound, and due to that vibrations, these receptor cells, organ of Corti, they produces or they generate nerve impulses, which is called mechanotransduction. Now organ of Corti, this is organ of Corti, this entire structure is organ of Corti. This is organ of Corti. The organ of Corti is partitioned by 2 rows of peculiar shaped cells known as pillar cells. Now, if I zoom this, you can see here pillar cells. This is the outer pillar cell and this is inner pillar cells. These 2 pillar cells basically guards the tunnel, and the name of tunnel is, this is tunnel, and the name of tunnel is tunnel of Corti. What is the name? Name of tunnel is tunnel of Corti. So the pillars encloses the tunnel of Corti. Outside the tunnel, there are 2 types of hair cells present. Outside this tunnel, this is tunnel and the 2 pillar cells. Outside the tunnel, this is tunnel. There are 2 hair cells present, 2 types of hair cells present, outer hair cells and inner hair cells. Outer hair cells and inner hair cells. So outside the tunnel there are two type of hair cell present. Interspersed between the hair cells there are also some supporting cells are present. These are supporting cell which are fused with the hair cells. Okay, these are two type of hair cells, 3 rows towards the outer side and single row towards the inner side. This is modulus part. Okay, round this modulus the cochlea turns are there. So modulus side inner hair cell and outer side 3 rows of outer hair cells. Okay, so this is tunnel, this is outer hair cell, 3 rows of outer hair cell and single row of inner hair cell. So in this slide also you are seeing a diagram containing, this is tunnel of Corti having pillar cells. These are supporting cells. Now outer side 3 rows of hair cells called outer hair cell. So entire length of cochlea containing these 3 rows of outer hair cells. And towards the modulus side this is inner hair cell, single row of inner hair cell. Now number of inner hair cells are 3500 and the diameter is about 12 micrometer. The 3 rows of outer hair cells, their numbers are, because having three rows, so their numbers are more, numbers are 12,000 and the diameter is only 8 micrometers. So this is a cut section at anywhere in cochlea, scala vestibuli, scala media, scala tympani. On the scala media there is basilar membrane, on basilar membrane there is organ of Corti. This is the enlarged view of organ of Corti. These are two pillar cells guarding the tunnel of Corti, outer hair cells, inner hair cells, 3 rows of outer hair cells, single row of inner hair cells. Why they are called hair cells? From these hair cells there are hair like projections coming out. Okay, and below the hair cells there are nerve endings. These are the nerve endings from inner hair cell and these are the nerve endings from outer hair cells, which finally joins the peripheral process of cochlear nerve and then goes to first spiral ganglion and from spiral ganglion to the central process and they joins the cochlear nerve. Now the important part is that about 90 to 95% of auditory nerve fibers are innervated by or stimulated by inner hair cells only. Okay, so majority or almost 90 to 95% are innervated by only inner hair cell. But it doesn't mean that outer hair cell has no role. They are also very important. If the outer hair cells are damaged and all the inner hair cells remain fully functional, then also large amount of hearing loss occurs. It means that outer hair cell has also very important role. Now what is that role? Outer hair cell controls the sensitivity of inner hair cells at different sound pitches. Simple words you can say, they fine tunes the receptor. They causes rigidness of the tictoral membrane. The membrane, they causes rigidness depending upon the frequencies, and depending upon that rigidness there is change in the tuning. So that tuning part or change in the different sound pitches is done by outer hair cells. So they increase or decrease the sensitivity of inner hair cells. Now if you see a single hair cell in this slide, you are able to see that single hair cells, this single hair cell having hair like projections coming out from cell, and these are called as stereocilia. They are called as stereocilia, progressively increasing in the size, in the length, progressively increasing in the length. They are called stereocilia. They are stiff structures having rigid protein framework. These stereocilia becomes progressively longer on the side of hair cell away from the modulus. If you are going away from the modulus, you are seeing that the length is progressively increases. Length of stereocilia is progressively increases, and even they are interconnected also by a thin filament. In this picture, you are seeing that they are interconnected with the thin filament also. So, if one stereocilia bends on this direction, it will pull this stereocilia also, and this second one pulls this third stereocilia also in the same direction. Now, the endolymph bathes the stereocilia of hair cell. You can see here these stereocilia are bathed with endolymph, which is filled in tube number 2, that is in scala media or cochlear duct. And endolymph is rich in potassium, low in sodium, as I told you in my previous slide. Whereas the body of hair cells, which lies below the reticular lamina, this is our body of hair cell, it is bathed in perilymph. It is bathed in perilymph. The cell is equilibrated with the perilymph. But stereocilia are bathed in endolymph. Endolymph having rich in potassium, perilymph is having very low quantity of potassium, very low quantity of positive ion, and this endolymph contains a lot of positive ion. So, there is a potential difference between endolymph and perilymph, which is responsible for or helps in mechanotransduction. The mechanism of mechanotransduction I will discuss in my third part. On today I am focusing mainly on the structure part of our receptor, that is organ of Corti, so that you can understand very well about structure or get familiar with the structure. So, in our next lecture, now you will be able to understand the entire part, that is mechanotransduction, very clearly. Now, the hair cells and supporting cells are connected with each other. These are hair cells and the supporting cells, they are connected with each other, and their apices, these are apices. The apices of the top part of hair cells, not the stereocilia, the top part of hair cells, they are fused with each other, they are fused with each other, and forms a surface, and that is called as reticular lamina. This is called as reticular lamina. The hairs of hair cells are projected out. The hairs of these hair cells, these are the hairs of hair cells, they are projected out from lamina. They are projected out from reticular lamina. You can see here the projected out. This is our reticular lamina. and these hair cells are projected out in this manner. They are projected out from reticular lamina. The stereocilia, which are projected upwards from the hair cells, either touch or they are embedded in the surface of gel coating of tectoral membrane. Now this is gel or gel filled, made up of gel filled matrix. This membrane is called as tectoral membrane. So these stereocilia, which are projected out from hair cells, this is inner hair cells, from that stereocilia are projected out. These projected out stereocilia, they are touched or embedded in the tectoral membrane. So if this basilar membrane vibrates, these vibrations are transmitted to the hair cells and then same to the stereocilia, and then stereocilia are attached to the tectoral membrane. So because of that vibrations, up and down, these stereocilia will bend in either in this direction or in this direction. So if they bend in either direction, there is change in the potential. If they bend towards the larger cilia, if they bend in this direction, there will leads to depolarization. But if they bend in the opposite direction, there will be leads to hyperpolarization. But how that happens, that we will discuss in our part 3 lecture of hearing. Now, the fluid in the space between tectoral membrane and reticular lamina, this is our reticular lamina, this is our tectoral membrane. The fluid which is present in this space is endolymph. As I told you, the stereocilia are bathed in endolymph. So it is bathed in endolymph. Okay. So now the structure part I have completed here. So in our today's lecture, I have discussed the cochlea, inner ear, the cut section of cochlea, 3 compartments. Then we have discussed the receptor for hearing, that is organ of Corti. Then we have discussed hair cells, outer and inner hair cells. Then we have discussed the reticular lamina. Then we have discussed stereocilia, and then finally tectoral membrane and the fluid which is filled in different compartments. So thank you students, thank you for hearing my lecture or giving support to my lecture. Thank you very much. Very soon I am going to upload the 3rd part of hearing. Thank you. Bye bye.